Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 6th of April, now it's half past 11, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my channel in which I share latest updates on the news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. But before I start, let me announce one change that I'm planning to make on this channel. It will only take a few minutes to explain what I mean. Because many of you did ask me to make short videos or to divide videos on different pieces, I'm gonna do exactly that. I will upload one main update on as I usually do, and after that I will divide this main update on smaller segments, and I will also upload that small videos. I hope it will make this channel a little bit more comfortable for you, because I do understand that not always one may have an hour, let's say, to watch update entirely, but he or she may find some 15, 20 or 30 minutes to watch some short version about topics that are interested for a particular person. So this way, I guess these changes will make channel more accessible and more interesting. So let's see how it will work out. By the way, I hope you will continue to support me and this project, because I definitely need your help. Because if you see yesterday's video, for example, I don't know what that is, shadow banning or what else, but I did notice that my videos have less and less views, and it's hard for me to explain. That's because my project is not interesting for people that were watching for months or 2 months and now decide to move away, or it's a YouTube algorithm that did not show my videos in recommendation. To make sure that you will see updates, you can click that bell next to like button. That should improve situation at least a little bit. I don't know how to deal with this situation really, but I can only hope that you will stay with my channel and in our community. So that's been said, let's talk about news now. And as I said, plenty of very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. And because I decided to, after main video, make separate videos about different topics, I'm not gonna worry about length of this main update that much. So let's start now. And first news that I like to share with you, reported by TASS News Agency, according to which official from Zaporozhye region, Vladimir Rogov, stated that British main battle tanks Challenger 2 have already arrived in Zaporozhye direction. Let me show you on the map this area. So that's Zaporozhye direction here, and according to Rogov, these tanks will be used during the anticipated by many large-scale counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime in direction of Azov Sea. To be more exact, in direction of Melitopol, Berdyansk, possibly Mariupol, and also in Kherson region. So I did predicted this kind of development. I was saying for quite some time now that I don't believe that Zelensky's regime will be able to conduct counteroffensive, large-scale counteroffensive in direction of Bakhmut and deblockade that city. But I was quite sure that Zelensky's regime will conduct or at least try to conduct large-scale counteroffensive in direction of Azov Sea, and all the military equipment that Zelensky's regime is receiving from the West will be used during this counteroffensive. And it seems like my prediction was correct, because now we have statements from officials that are confirming that Western main battle tanks did arrive in Zaporozhye direction. I believe it's not just Challenger 2s that are sent to this direction. I mean Zaporozhye. Leopard 2 tanks also probably are already in this area here. Possibly Leopard 1 tanks, even though officially we did not hear any information that Leopard 1s were delivered to Ukraine. I believe Germany did deliver Leopard 1 tanks in Ukraine, to Ukraine. And I have good reason to believe in that, because some sources in Russia that have some inside information did report that Zelensky's regime already received more than 100 Western-made battle tanks. And if we take into account only official statements, we may count 40-50 Western-made battle tanks, but not 100 or more. So that means that the rest of the tanks should be Leopard 1s. So in my understanding, Zelensky's regime in direction of Zaporozhye now had concentrated about 100-150 Western-made battle tanks, and at least 200 to 300 Western-made armored personnel carriers, including MRAPs and Bradleys. And it's only a matter of days now, and we will see beginning of this counteroffensive. Probably everyone is seems like everyone is waiting for it, and you're gonna see some channels that already are making predictions. Some are pro-Ukrainian, some are pro-Russian. Me personally, I was saying from very beginning that Zelensky's regime is doomed to fail in all the directions, and they have no chances to establish control over this land bridge when it comes to Zaporozhye region, land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. But yet again, time will tell. In my opinion, only way Zelensky's regime will be able to achieve any success during this announced counteroffensive is if Moscow will withdraw its forces from this land bridge, like it happened in Kharkov region and on the right bank of Kherson region, right bank of the Dnieper. But then situation was a little bit different. Now situation is well known for Russia, and I believe Russian armed forces are prepared to deal with any large-scale movement from Zelensky's regime. Anyway, I hope Moscow will not withdraw its forces in this region, because if Zelensky's regime will take control over this land bridge, it will have devastating effect on Russian society, and it may cause some destabilization inside Russia. So, me personally, I hope Russian side are ready. I hope Moscow will not withdraw forces from anywhere, because Moscow did had enough time to prepare for this announced counteroffensive. Let's continue now with some other news, and we have statement about yet another shelling of Melitopol. Zelensky's regime in preparation of this counteroffensive in direction of Azov Sea, almost on daily basis now are shelling Melitopol, and previous night was not exception. And according to TASS news agency, Russian air defense systems did shut down 6 HIMARS missiles in Melitopol direction. So that's Melitopol, by the way, almost in middle of this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. So, as I said, I hope Russian side is ready to repeal any counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, and effectiveness of Russian air defense systems does create hope that that's exactly the case, and Russian side truly are prepared. Let's continue with some other news. This is TASS news agency also, which is writing about publication in Reuters, according to which Ukrainian Armed Forces have now 40,000 stormtroops ready to conduct counteroffensive. Yet again, all those talks about counteroffensives now have shifted from Bakhmut direction to Zaporozhye direction, and because weather is improving little by little and the ground is becoming more and more usable for military equipment, I think it's matter of days now. It's matter of days, and we will see beginning of the counteroffensive. 40,000 stormtroopers. It's quite a force, but I don't think that's enough to achieve any success in any direction, really. Because territories are vast. It's a vast territories here. We are talking about hundreds of kilometers. Yes, to cross this land bridge, it's only about 100 kilometers. 70, 80, 100 kilometers. But it's a wide place, and long-range artillery of Russian side will be able to destroy any large-scale grouping that will try to move in direction of Azov Sea. Any group that will try to do so will end up in crossfire of artillery, and not just artillery. So yet again, it's a crucial point probably in this conflict, because Bakhmut is already, we can say, under Russian control, because 80-90% of the town is controlled by Russian side. That's Bakhmut, by the way. And it's only a matter of days when PMC Wagner units will establish full control over this city. This pro-Ukrainian map is acknowledging now that most of the city is under Russian control. But if we see this other map, you will have a better understanding of situation. And according to this map, basically what is left under control of Zelensky's regime is the western part of the city. And same time, we did see some reports. We had some reports that Russian side is trying to establish control over the Bogdanovka here, this settlement, over the Khramove, which is right here. And if that's the case, then quite possible that these units that are in this western part of Bakhmut will be trapped entirely, will be encircled entirely. And when it comes to Bakhmut, we do have statements from Zelensky himself. And let me read it for you. So Zelensky, during his visit in Poland, he did make some statements about Bakhmut, and he said that if there will be danger of encirclement, full encirclement, they will save lives of soldiers and withdrawal forces. This is probably first time that Zelensky directly said that window is open for withdrawal of forces from Bakhmut, and I did see on Telegram channels many videos. It's hard to confirm where, when, and where those videos were made, but according to some sources, some units of Ukrainian Armed Forces did start withdrawing from Bakhmut through fields and country roads that are still possible to use by Ukrainian Armed Forces, because those roads are under artillery fire control of Russian side, not direct control of Russian side. And as I said many times before, as I predicted, forces, Bakhmut garrison units that are fleeing Bakhmut are moving on foot. They cannot use military equipment, and they are moving on foot. It's not too big a distance from Bakhmut to Chisov Yar. It's only 10-11 kilometers, so it's only a matter of few hours to cross this opening between these two towns. But yet again, they are risking to become under fire, and I did saw just this morning videos when one of the units were trying to escape Bakhmut, and they become under direct fire, even not just artillery fire, but direct fire from Russian side, direct fire from small arms. That means machine guns and the rest of it. So maybe Zelensky will give orders to units that are trapped in this western part to withdraw today or tomorrow, or maybe he will sacrifice them like he already did sacrifice thousands and thousands of Ukrainian soldiers that die in Bakhmut already. Let's continue now, and Zelensky also made quite, not Zelensky, but his office. His officials did made a quite strange statement. Also, this is RIA Novosti's report, and according to a presidential office of Zelensky, Kiev will be ready to talk about Crimea, about status of Crimea, when Ukrainian side will establish full control over the entire territory of Ukraine except Crimea. That means not just Kherson and Zaporozhye region, but also Donbass, DPR and LPR, and these kind of statements that shows you once again how out of touch Zelensky and his henchmen really are. Maybe they truly believe that they will be able to establish control over the territories that are under Russian control now. But they cannot be serious, or it's hard to believe that they are that much stupid. But they can be, who knows. But at least they are openly saying that there can be some negotiations about status of Crimea. Nothing like that was said before. So it's kind of something new in policy of Zelensky's regime. But yet again, as I said many times before, only way Zelensky's regime will be able to succeed in establishing control over this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia is if Moscow will withdraw forces for some strange reasons. I hope this will not happen, because it may destabilize Russia internally, and no one in good mind should want to see destabilization of Russia. Let's continue now, and we have still RIA Novosti's report, according to which John Kirby, this White House official, did made statements about Ukraine once again, and he said that Washington is not against if Zelensky's regime will conduct strikes with the using of with the U.S. weapons on territories that U.S. recognize as Ukraine. Same time, Washington is against. Washington at least not pushing Zelensky's regime. That's at least what officials are saying, US officials, that Washington is not encouraging Zelensky's regime to strike on Russian soil. But yet again, it's becoming more and more difficult to take seriously these individuals. John Kirby, who the hell is John Kirby, man? This stupid idiot, really. I mean, it's hard to comment on that kind of crazy statements because Crimea is a part of Russia. Who cares what US did recognize or not? Crimea is a part of Russia. Donbass is a part of Russia. Kherson region and Zaporozhye region, they are part of Russia. That's what the Russian constitution said. That's what people decide, people that live in those regions. And who the hell is Kirby or anybody else in not just in US but in the world to tell Russians where Russian borders are lying? Let's continue now, and but yet again, these kind of statements is one more step towards escalation, because basically White House is giving red light for Zelensky's regime to use long-range weapons that US provide to Zelensky, to use those long-range weapons to strike deep inside Russian territory, and that means that Russia will retaliate one way or another, today or after 5 years, but Russia will remember this and will retaliate. And US citizens should know that their elites, it's their elites that are endangering US military all around the world, and US citizens, just all of them. It's US elites that endangering US citizens everywhere. Let's continue now. Let's continue, because Russia will be forced, and Russia is forced already, to retaliate. And as you see, just recently there were some attacks on US bases in Syria, and I believe that was only beginning. That was only beginning. And US interests all around the world will be under pressure more and more as time goes by. It's just obvious. That's what current Washington administration is provoking. Let's continue now, and this is still RIA Novosti's report about this strange situation that happened yesterday in Bryansk region of Russian Federation. Some light plane, civilian light plane, crashed in Bryansk region, and FSB did arrest a pilot who had on him machine gun, some small arms, and according to interrogation, I did share a video on my Telegram channel, by the way. It's on Russian, but according to statements of that pilot, he is a civilian, and he was told to fly in as a wingman, so that it must be two planes. One did manage to reach destination, but this pilot that ended up in Russia is saying that he didn't know destination. He was wingman and flying alongside leading plane. Some very crazy story, really. Some very crazy story, and he's supposed to make some pictures or something like that, which is in era of drones don't really makes any sense to fly and make pictures with photo apparat. So he was arrested by FSB, and probably we will learn some more about this strange accident. When I first time heard this information, I was thinking maybe this is some kind of attempt to repeat story with the Rust German. It was German pilot, if I'm not mistaken, who did landed on Red Square using some light plane. Probably you all are familiar with this story. That happened in the last years of Soviet Union, and when I heard that some light plane did crashed in Bryansk region, that was my first first thinking that maybe someone did attempt to do something like that, to fly low and maybe reach Moscow, maybe even Red Square. Who knows? But story is definitely quite strange one. But today or tomorrow probably we'll have some more information from Russian investigation, and I will share information with you. Let's continue now, and once again, Zelensky, as you know, he was in Poland yesterday, and he did make quite strange statements. I did share a few of them already, and he also talked about relationships between Poland and Ukraine, and he said that there will be no borders between, fairly soon, there will be no borders between Ukraine and Poland, and this message was not really well received in Ukraine, especially among nationalists, because Ukrainian Nazis, they hate not just Russians, but they hate Polish people also. And probably you know story of beginning of this movement, neo-Nazi movement in Ukraine, and for example, hero of those neo-Nazis, Bandera, and henchmen of Bandera, they killed not just Russians, not just Jews, but they killed about 100,000 Poles, civilians. So they hate Polish people, and they did not receive this message of Zelensky well. But if we take this statement from different rackles, we may say that Zelensky probably right, because there will be no Ukraine after this conflict will end. Probably there will be no state Ukraine left. Majority of modern Ukraine will be under Russian control, and the rest of it, especially western regions, probably will end up under control of Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Romania. That's what we're gonna see. So definitely there will be no borders between Poland and Ukraine, because there will be no Ukraine as a state no more. So that's my take, at least, on this strange statement. And now, if I may, I will promote my channel a little bit. Dear friends, I'm very grateful for your attention and support. And if you think this channel, because our channel is growing little by little, but our channel is growing, and we have more and more members in our small community, I had to address this topic on daily basis, because that's the way it works, really. All independent channels are all the independent channels have to be heavily dependent on subscribers. So if you think this channel is interesting, useful, has some potential, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, or subscribe to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. And of course, I will be very grateful for your help. So that's been said, I'm not really ready for question time today. Or no, I do remember one of you did ask me about T-14s tanks, main battle tanks, Russian newest battle tanks. I did answer yesterday in the comment, but a few days earlier I was also asked about T-14s and the Su-57 5th gen fighter jets, and I will share what I know about those tanks and planes. So T-14s, they are not deployed on the front line. There were some rumors. It's Armata. That's the name of platform, Armata, and Armata tanks are not deployed on the front line, even though there were some rumors that Russian side did send a few of them on the battlefield. I did not see any video or photo confirmation of that. And as I understand, Armata tanks don't even finish yet military trails. I may be wrong on this. I may not remember correctly, but I think those tanks are not yet finished their testing entirely. But yet again, I'm quite sure none of them were sent to frontline, at least for now. When it comes to Su-57, 5th gen fighter jets, we did have some reports on different Telegram channels and even on official media that Su-57s are quite active, and they may even have some air-to-air kills. But yet again, because this plane is top secret and information about these planes are mostly classified, we don't really have enough information in open sources to say how effective those planes were and what kind of operations they did conduct. But as I understand, they were active not just in air combat, but also they did targeted some ground targets. So Su-57s are gaining some experience, battle experience, but Armata tanks, no. Most modern Russian tank that are involved in this conflict is 1090M, and you can recognize that tank with different turret. As you know, all other Russian tanks have some oval turret, but 1090M has prolongated turrets, so you will easily recognize whenever you see it on videos or